Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the GITM podcast.
What? We got no mic audio.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, now we do.
Yeah, you ruined my
delay
because it was up. No, it's at the bottom. You can't see it.
Oh.
Jeez, you ruined my intro. Now
I saw Mike Ox, and I was like, well, we're fucked. We're fucked up again.
Mics are on the mixer.
Got it.
I need to tell you this shit from now on. But anyway, welcome everybody. We're back with another episode of the GITM podcast, where we cover the paranormal, the true crime, and like tonight, UFOs and extraterrestrials. But we're doing it with a twist. We're doing ancient.
Laggy.
We're doing ancient, way back UFO sightings.
Are we going to talk about
biblical, if you will?
Are we going to talk about that dinosaurs didn't go extinct?
No,
they
we're not
either
going to talk
were
about
aliens
that.
or the aliens came and picked them up.
No, we're not talking about that because that cannot be proved by science.
That's a whole other. Because we talk about a lot of shit that can be proved by science.
You're assuming that dinosaurs were real.
And that they didn't share Earth with men 1,000 years ago. See, and I call it bullshit because if dinosaurs were real and they walked with men, I don't think Jesus would have been crucified. If he was all that in a bag of potato chips.
You say T-Rex would have saved him?
He would have ridden one, like that fucking Nazi movie.
Nazi movie?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of movies that were like, I'm pretty sure, what was it? It was like somebody went back in time to take out Hitler, and there's dinosaurs, and they're riding dinosaurs and sword fighting and shit.
Never even remotely heard of this.
It was phenomenally stupid.
Oh, we are laggy like a son of a bitch.
It's gonna be okay.
For you YouTube viewers, we're sorry.
Man,
for this.
Yeah, we are. What the fuck?
I don't know what's same thing set up as last time, but oh well. You're gonna have to just listen to us.
We say that as if any of this shit works properly. Well, almost ever.
We're still piecing together the fucking computer after the.
It's only been 5 years.
Well, after the last little faux pas a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But we're covering ancient UFOs. We might even talk some biblical stuff.
Jesus was an alien?
No.
Or a Nephilim?
Well, yeah, technically he was, I guess.
Go on. An illegal alien, or
no? I believe his father was God. If I'm not,
he was a sky baby.
So, just because his mother was of this planet and his father was not, so does that make him an alien?
It was
I'm telling you.
Injured cold?
Maybe. I don't know. These are deep questions that I have not the answers for.
Even though we know that's why you're here, to get answers.
But I think the ancient UFO thing, there's several ways you can look at this. Like we were talking about earlier, before we actually technically went live, but we were live. UFO sightings in today's world can very easily be explained away. It's much harder to tell what is a UAP or a UFO today.
Yeah, because we have flying objects.
Yes, we have aeroplanes.
And jets and helicopters and Goodyear blimps.
And we don't know exactly what all the governments of the world have.
And the house from up.
Because they say, the government's arsenal or inventory is about 10, 15, possibly even 20 years above what we have. So they have fucking cameras that don't lag when they're streaming.
That's how they know it.
Well, they have a much better internet connection than we do.
Well, birds are fake too.
No, they're not. I see them every day.
Imagine the Wi-Fi capabilities necessary to enact a army of falsified avians.
True. But in ancient times, some of these ancient depictions of mysterious objects in the sky is much harder to explain because Wilbur Wright and his brother
had a bike with wings.
Weren't back then. They weren't there.
How the fuck? I want to know, has anybody ever recreated their flying machine?
No.
I want to see it in action. That thing looked like it was made out of fucking printer paper and popsicle sticks and Elmer's fucking school glue. And yet they're flying around. in that weird stop motion-y looking shit where the guy running.
Hey,
is like,
don't make fun of stop motion shit. That's what we got going on right now.
well, the guy, and then you see the guy running along the ground. I don't know if it was one of the Wright brothers or what, but he looks like a fucking 80s video game character, like, but they're flying.
I don't been forward too much. Ooh, bald spots showing. I might as well just shave this shit off.
Get that spray on hair from back in the 90s.
That would be awesome. I should do it.
And not only do it, but don't even hide it.
No, just
like make it a part.
Make
of
it runny.
Make it a part of the intro. Like every episode, we start with that cardboard cutout on your head, and that, and then we'll put dinner in the Ron Popeil rotisserie, and we'll set it and forget it.
I think next week I'm going to do the Hulk Hogan.
Oh, the handlebar?
The handlebar just jet black. And
the Hollywood Hogan.
The Hollywood Hogan.
Oh.
Yeah, jet black handlebar mustache with this white old man gray beard right here.
There's just something about handlebar mustaches that seems slightly racist to me.
Well, I would not know. But anyway, like I was saying, the strange sightings that have been depicted in, accounts from ancient times that have been passed down through the generations are much harder to explain. Yes, a lot of people will say, and I even mentioned this in this episode, aerial phenomenon such as meteors and shooting stars, things that can be some of these things, which is very, I don't doubt that. I'm not saying it's true. It's probably true. But you have to look at it. We as a society of this day and age really, I don't want to say look down upon our ancient, we think
they're fucking stupid.
We think they're lesser than us because we have computers, we have all this technology.
Yeah.
But they were, I would say, just when it comes to the heavens, they were just as smart as us. They might even understood the stars a little bit more than us. Maybe not.
Well, because they use them. That was their sole purpose or sole. What's the fucking word I'm looking for? I'm really crapping out on this one. Source of navigation.
Right. So they spent a lot of time looking up at the skies because there wasn't YouTube.
What the fuck else was I going to do? Yeah, right.
Yeah. The
sky's way more exciting than the fucking ground.
They didn't have the GITM podcast to amuse them or piss them off. We haven't pissed anybody off.
Just gonna sit there and look at your dirty ass kids.
Right. So, but I firmly believe, and we've talked about this on other episodes and privately, the ancients were much smarter, if not, or I think they were just advanced as us, definitely intellectually.
Just in different ways. Well, they had to be. Now you got a fucking computer in your pocket and they can make you just be dumb because you have everything at the touch of a fingertip. Right. And back then, you actually had to learn and know shit.
Well, just like 25 years ago, 30 years ago, you had to remember fucking phone numbers.
Yeah. The address book with the little thing that you could slide to the letter and open it up.
I can still remember my home phone number from my first wife, or my first wife, like I have so many. My only wife.
My wife.
That home phone number, which I haven't... That was like 99.
Yeah, I still remember my home phone number from when I was a kid.
Right. But I firmly believe that they were very smart. They knew a lot. They knew a lot more about the skies and what is going on up there than we do, or just as much as us, I think, just in a different way.
They had way more afternoon delight.
Right. I mean, when some of the stuff that they have built, some of these landmarks, and like they mimic the stars. They mimic it, and they had to have some understanding. And there's some accounts of, I believe it was at Sumer, where they actually have pretty close, even in scale, to the solar system. Now,
the happenstantial way that like a shitload of pyramids around the world align with different star constellations at the same time.
Yes, but so I think, for instance, the Great Pyramid.
The greatest hoax of all time. They're made out of paper mache, everyone.
With our technology, we could not build that today the way with the same materials they built.
Yeah.
We could not do that.
Yeah,
but yet they did it.
Because aliens and giants made the pyramids.
No, I just think they were able to manipulate their environment much like we do ours in a different way that we can't comprehend yet.
Maybe they just maybe the water level was higher, and that explains the water erosion too. They use the tides.
They do say they floated them down the Nile.
That sounds like a risky business. Yeah. I would imagine at that point in time, there's still a lot of crocodiles.
Yeah, but my point is, I think there's a lot of people that don't give the ancients credits. We think they were just morons, which they weren't.
Yeah, we think. Well, I think a lot of people, like, you put too much of a relationship between ancient people in general and like fucking cavemen. Which, when people think of cavemen, they think of Cro-Magnon man and Neanderthal,
right?
Which are actually different species than Homo sapien, Homo erectus.
Very true.
Which is us. Like a legitimate, actual different species.
I'm erect right now.
Okay.
But
I'm Homo right now.
Oh, shit. We got a Homo erectus. But so that
childish humor brought to you by Charmander.
I am a 50-some-odd-year-old, 12-year-old. I am not Benjamin Button. I'm not aging backwards, unfortunately. But so that's kind of the premise of this. And you will hear me even say, this on some of these accounts that I'm going to speak about, that could just be a meteor. Or a thunderstorm.
A lot of them could. Because, we also have to talk and think about, like, the region in which we're talking about, where, yes, there probably were regions of people that weren't quite. Yeah, you like that? I just fucking had my air conditioner on today.
You hot?
When the sun gets past, like, midday, it actually gets fucking hot back there.
Oh, shit.
But, yeah, I'm sure there was stuff happening in areas where there were less traveled, less intellectually advanced people, maybe some more farmers and gatherers and shit like that, where, like, the type of situation where you might not know as much about the world around you because you never contact it. So you see an asteroid and you're like, fuck, the sky's falling.
Halley's Comet, for instance.
Like the guy from Armageddon, get the book. Get the book.
Get the book. She's a soul-sucking bitch.
Yeah.
Whoever finds it gets to name it.
He's like, she's a soul-sucking bitch, the likes of, what is it? It's like the likes of which the world will never escape or some shit. I'm like, man, that's true love right there.
That is. But I think first thing I want to talk about is cave drawings. And I'm going to list a few, but those I think are fascinating for the mere fact either they had great imaginations,
which also very much probably true,
or they actually saw what they recreated what they saw the best way they could, and some of them are very, very accurate, are very compelling. But let's start with the first one. Algeria, located in the Sahara Desert, the cave painting shows a large humanoid figure with a round head, sometimes referred to as the Martian's god. Okay, some believe this figure resembles an astronaut or an extraterrestrial being. Now, I think this is also one of those ones that maybe it was just a 2-year-old, couldn't draw very well.
Or it was just a really malformed, inbred human.
Correct. But, it's fascinating. They had to get inspired in some way to make this drawing, like you said.
They just had one ugly ass fucking dude that lived in the village. They're like, oh, you make Sky God. No, Craig.
Some might say we're humanoid. We're large humanoid figures with round heads.
That's fair.
That's true. So we could be aliens, as you'll never know.
Somebody finds a picture of me drawn on a cave somewhere, they're going to be like, oh, it's the Snorlax from Pokemon.
But these drawings were, from 6000 BCE to 2000 BCE. That's
That's how you know it's old, when it goes backwards.
Yeah. So cave drawings are, like I said, are very interesting, but it gets even better. The Val Camonica in Italy from 10,000 BCE to 1,000 BCE. Drawings depict some of the humanoid figures, which are common, that appear to be wearing helmets and antennas. I think, what was that, Marvin the Martian?
Or, no, I don't think Marvin the Martian had antenna.
Oh,
it was,
or
was it the fuck from,
my favorite Martian.
Flintstones.
I thought that was Marvin the Martian, man.
No, there's another one.
Oh.
It was like the Great Zork or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
The one with the real sassy British attitude.
Right.
He was a little green guy with antennas, and he floated around, but he was a real fucking bitch.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the movie, he was very diminutive.
But I think of, what was it, my favorite Martian with Mr. Hand from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He's from he's a Martian, and he had those antennas. Kids, go look that up.
I think I've seen it.
Classic 70s television.
Or Mork and Mindy. Did he have antennas ever?
You know what? I don't know. Didn't he wear the
spacesuit?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember.
Been a lot of Robin Williams in my life lately.
Yeah.
Just watched Good Will Hunting today. Great film. It's not a movie. It's a film.
It's a film. Classic film.
It is. That crying scene, rock hard every time.
Get you every time.
Every time. Do you think Val Camonica is Val Kilmer's stage name?
No. I'm pretty sure it's not.
What if it was? What if they're like, ladies and gentlemen, special guest Val Camonica, and he just started shredding like Dan Taylor from Roseanne?
Maybe. Could be.
Or John Belushi or Jim, whichever one. Whichever one's alive and plays harmonica.
That would be Jim.
Yeah. If the dead one played harmonica, that'd be fucking weird.
That'd be awesome. That'd be another episode.
They'd be like, I don't know if it's better alive or dead.
I don't know.
I miss him so much, but he has blessed us with such great art from the grave.
Right. The last one we'll cover is the Sego Canyon in Utah, here in the U.S. of A.
I love that gaming system.
Sego or Sega?
The Sego Genesis.
Right. These petroglyphs in this area show tall beings and with large eyes, elongated heads, and missing mouths. Mm-hmm. So they just didn't finish the fucking drawing.
Or they were backwards and they ate with their butt.
Now, when it comes to maybe
it would. Now that I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe some aliens, maybe they're more accurate than we think when we don't see a pronounced mouth.
Well,
maybe it's all one dedicated area for ingestion, digestion, and excretion.
Very possible. But I think
they shit where they eat.
Literally. I think the Native American culture, when it comes to this, is very interesting because a lot of their origin stories are based in outer,
Sky Mother,
the sky people coming down. So these drawings could be interpreted two different ways, I believe. Whether or not they saw them or they were just telling the stories, in drawing forms of what they believed. Mm-hmm. Much like, the white Jesus. We know he wasn't Caucasian.
He was clear.
I'm sure he was a little darker.
He was so great he had to be whiter than white. But
the same, you kind of draw them as you feel they make them look like you.
Yeah. Like how, I don't know what you would call them. Like makeup artists. What's the fucking term for that? For like movies and shit. It's not cosmetic, is it? But anyway, like how they're like, my interpretation of the ancient devil, Beelzebub, I drew from the horny toad of the Midwest.
Yeah, but it's interesting to think about whether or not they drew these because they saw them, or they drew these because they were just drawing what the history has been told to them and what they interpret that to look like.
Or they'd been eating a shitload of peyote.
Oh, we're going to get into that.
Okay.
Which is very possible. That's about a 99.9% chance there.
I feel like that's across the board.
Yeah.
Because there's drugs in every fucking culture going back I don't know how long. Even in the fucking Bible. If you translate it the proper way. They were just all fucked up all the time.
But I do think it's
On the purple.
I do think it's fascinating that a lot of native tribes do have that very similar origin story. You know, that they come from the heavens, they come from the stars. So it's very interesting. But who knows?
Like Shaq.
No, Shaq doesn't come from the heavens.
Was that? No, that was fuck, that was another movie. It wasn't Shaq. Came around the same. I think it came around the same time as it had the same motif as Steel. There's a movie about an alien coming down. Yeah, go on.
Okay,
it's just like every other alien fucking movie.
Now, some famous people in history, in ancient history, that we all learned about in our history classes had,
maybe not anymore.
No, probably not anymore.
They don't go back past fucking
1980.
Yeah, they stop at Steve Jobs.
Right.
Like all the important stuff happened after that. Nothing else matters.
But some prominent figures in our ancient history had experiences, and I didn't even get into like George Washington. He had an experience. He had a sighting.
George Washington had a lot of stuff people don't think about, like slaves.
Why you got to go there?
So I just watched that Shane Gillis stand up again, where he's talking about going to. Have you seen it? When he's talking about going to George Washington's plantation during COVID, where they weren't allowed to like talk, and it was one at a time. It was hilarious.
Sure, it is.
He said the ladies just pointed at stuff. They were like, It's a great tour. Thanks, Karen.
Alexander the Great had an experience. It's commonly referred to as Alexander the Great's flying shield. Basically,
Captain America.
Yeah. Alexander the Great, back in 329 BC, he was in the midst of his expansion.
He's a young man.
Yeah, he was born in 356 BCE, inherited the throne in 336 BCE after the assassination of his father, King Philip II.
I take that back. What was that? 37? So he was basically dead.
What?
That'd be like 37, right?
Yeah.
356 to 329? Or 27?
Something like that.
Yeah, he was basically dead.
Why do you say that?
Because of the fucking life expectancy at the time.
That's a misnomer.
I know, it's because the population density wasn't as high, so numbers were skewed more.
The
number of infant deaths.
Infant death syndrome really brought down the, if you made it past 2 or 3, you're pretty good. But yet not the same. I mean, like with dental hygiene and stuff, that killed a lot of people.
Yeah, and you can also assume that anybody that was of any type of royalty probably didn't have the cleanest bloodline.
No.
They probably didn't have the deepest gene pool, if you will. They definitely had no diving signs.
They weren't the longer they've been in power, the less branches were on that tree.
Yeah, there was definitely some uncle cousins going on.
Yeah.
Some grandma sisters.
But what's up, everybody?
Kazoo,
Welcome.
the great Kazoo. That was the fucking alien from Flintstones.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate you.
That attitudey little fucker, man.
What's the BCE business?
Before Common Era.
It's basically BC. We got to change shit up.
Well, it's because everybody argues the whole existence and or birth time of Christ. So it's before Common Era, and
But it's all the same. They use the same freaking year.
It's before Common Era, and then fuck off and today.
Yeah.
Because the past doesn't exist. We can't learn anything from it. We can't learn anything from the atrocities of World War II. We can't learn anything from the atrocities of all these wars. We have to look forward.
But basically, Alexander the Great was doing a little battling.
Sounds about right.
What most of these rulers did back then, they expanded, they conquest. Was going on a conquest. I agree. That's just dumb.
So he was sitting on a horse, going, "Sweet."
While he was basically a lot of he did when he was trying to conquer the Persian or take over the Persian Empire, whooped their asses, which, according to Gerard Butler, is kind of hard to do.
If Leonidas couldn't do it,
no,
held out for a long time though.
Yeah,
stuck his ass in that corner and fought like a rabid dog. Great movie lines come from that.
Excuse me, but Alexander and his army reportedly witnessed strange shining disc-shaped objects in the sky while they were campaigning in Central Asia.
Okay, that kind of sort of sounds like meteors.
Well, yeah. Let me get through this and we'll discuss it. The account suggests that the flying shields moved erratically in the sky, frightening the soldiers and war elephants, which is awesome.
We talked about this last week. They were fucking war elephants. It's sick. Even in today's military, if I got drafted, they're like, what job you think you'd be good at? War elephant? We don't have you're going to get one.
Right.
And I will strike terror and fear into your enemies.
Now, I will agree with you that could very well just be meteors, shooting stars, of some sort. But when they start moving irregularly and they don't follow the typical path of a shoot, that's pretty much I don't want to say straight line, a little bit of an arc.
Yeah, I was going to say the only thing that popped into my head was like the fracturing of it and fragmenting off into different pieces.
Right. That could be very well true. But when that's the problem with the ancient accounts. You don't know exactly what they mean by weird trajectory,
right?
So it could be that, or it could be actually what we assume or what we generally think of a UFO, making weird turns, unattainable turns, or turns that we can't do.
There's fucking Captain Marvel just flying around. She's like, I won't help you. Fuck you guys.
But some versions of this story, which I find interesting, allege that using beams that during his siege, there was these UAPs or UFOs apparently didn't like the fact that he was attacking, and they used beams of light and some form of energy to disrupt his attack in his siege, which anybody that doesn't know their history knows the siege is just you're surrounding the city and waiting them out, cutting off food supply.
I know the movies are all like badass in real life. They're just like, come on,
and cutting off the food supply and the sex workers supply. That's an important line they cut off.
Arrhythmias, if you don't open the fucking door, we're gonna keep pooping outside your house. There's 152,000 of us. This is on you. Ball's in your court, buddy. I'll be over here waiting for my DoorDash.
Now, most historians and scholars poo-poo on
alien interference.
And we're not even talking fucking aliens help build the pyramids. We can get into that if you want. I think it's fascinating.
Then we start poking the bear that is archaeology.
All right, you don't want to piss off the archaeologists.
You don't want Flint Dibble coming after us.
I'll let him come.
I'd have a conversation with Flint Dibble. I like the way he has conversations about the shit, even if he disagrees.
I would have to. I told you, the conversation with Flint Dibble and me would end with me having my foot happen to be surgically removed from his anus.
I don't know. I think he attacks it well from a point of science. He's not really argumentative. He's not super
He's
shitty.
Condescending though.
I mean, but aren't the guys that are arguing the opposite direction, which is usually the side that I side with anyway?
Right.
But like, Graham Hancock is a very interesting human being and has very interesting things to say, but he often comes off rather cunty.
But Dibble comes off like just because he went to school.
I think a lot of it was the hat.
The hat. First of all, listen. Don't watch Indiana Jones right before you go on the biggest podcast in the world, you douche nugget.
Yeah, he was dressed like Data from Goonies.
I mean,
but the guy's a bully trap.
And what I hate closed-minded people. If you're so set in your way, I don't know anything.
I know everything. I'll put Flint Dibble to shame. Challenge.
Let me rephrase that. I know a lot or a little about a lot of things, but I'm not an expert in anything except probably self-pleasure. I don't know.
I would love to have I would love if we could set up a legitimate interview with an actual scientist. And I'd be like, yeah, well, tell me about how the aliens built the pyramids. They'd be like, there's literally no evidence for that. And I can show that right now. And after they show all their diagrams and shit, I'll be like, okay, well, how about you're fucking dumb and gay, and I hate you.
Well, no, your retort should be, well, there's literally no evidence showing the way you say they were built either.
That's no fun.
Exactly.
I'll be like, well, they'd be like, oh no, actually, this is concrete evidence. We know for a fact. Well, your mom's fucking ugly, so.
But
works for Trump. Why can't it work for me?
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
He said,
only Rosie.
He said, what was that? What was the other politician's wife? Ted Cruz. He said, Ted's wife, ugly as a dog. Oh, and what have we? Sidebar, real quick. Have we? Excuse me. Is the Red Wizard like low-key officially kind of admitting that his tariffs are not going to change the price of our groceries?
Who's the Red Wizard?
Trump.
That's the Are you colorblind?
He represents the Red Party.
Oh, well, you mean it's not going to drive the prices up?
It doesn't seem to be working.
Well, that's not the point of it. That's not the point of tariffs.
Well, then he blew up a lot of.
That's not the point of tariffs. Is not to.
But it's supposed to work towards all of these things.
Bring it down, you mean?
Everything.
No, tariffs is just a way of. People don't realize tariffs is how taxes didn't start till like the 30s.
Yeah, I know, right?
And we got our money from fucking tariffs.
What happened? Everybody I had that thought the other day. We bitch about them now. Imagine the people that were alive when they started taxing us like that. Imagine our grandparents that were like, wait, huh?
You gonna take what?
What the fuck do you mean I have to pay you for my money?
Basically, all a tariff is, I'm no political scholar myself. From my understanding, they're just charging a tax on the shit when China sends us,
everything that exists in the United States.
They charge them a tax to ship it over here. So theoretically,
trickle down.
Well, and it did work to a certain extent, because even Ford has, guess what? I guess we ain't gonna make. Really, the idea of tariff now is to bring jobs back. But see, that's a double.
Apparently, Apple's doing that.
Yeah,
Apple said they're putting like $500 billion into U.S. I don't know, manufacturing or what. Right. I don't know.
To bring because when they opened up China, and during I believe the Nixon administration, they really brought China into the fold. It kind of fucked us. But here's the thing about, how do we talk about this shit? We can't.
Because Trump's a good politician and he's always on somebody's mind.
Wrong. Tariff. What the fuck are you talking about?
Like she's in support of the tariffs.
No, she's not in support of tariffs. I can almost guarantee that.
No. I just think it's all fuck. Like, because my biggest thing is, I'm like, if we go to U.S. based buying for the most, for everything that we can, we can't afford it.
And we couldn't, like the iPhone. And people are so fucking stupid.
Yeah, if you and I were the people in charge of making iPhones like on a line, they would be $3,000 because our cost of living is so fucking high.
It would be more than that.
Well, I'm just spitballing, but like our cost of living is through the roof. Do I agree with sweatshops and shit like that? Does Apple use them? I'm sure they do. But yeah, you can pay somebody 15 cents a day in some parts of the world, and like they can scratch by with that. And I also make the argument that as long as it's safe and everybody's on the same page, I can't even say that it's entirely wrong. But maybe that little kid's parents, like their dad died in a factory accident and their mom's got fucking cancer and there's nobody else to bring in money into the house.
What pisses me off about the general public, they want to bitch about tariffs. They want to bitch about all this other shit.
They just want to bitch.
But yet they want their iPhone was made by slave labor.
Yeah. The iPhone you're using to tweet all of this shit complaining about politicians is done on a fucking phone that was made in China and Malaysia. The
batteries that are in your fucking Teslas or in these phones need cobalt, which is mined by fucking toddlers damn near.
And it is still oftentimes recharged by coal-powered electricity.
We don't want to talk about that shit.
To the point, I saw a Tesla that's had a bumper sticker like making a joke towards how like coal's still kind of king, and I'm like, then why do you have a fucking Tesla? Which made me wonder, is there a tax credit or a tax incentive if you have a electric vehicle?
I don't know. I don't think so.
One of these expensive electric vehicles that you and I couldn't afford, but I want to look into that. I feel like there probably is.
I don't know. I don't know. But,
we're finding you out, you Cybertruck owning pieces of shit, and also fuck the Cybertruck. That thing's ugly.
But people, buy American. Yeah, you want to buy American. Yeah, great.
That'd be great. I would love to, but I'd be fucking poor.
The American workforce, as good as it is expensive because our cost of living is so expensive.
And that's as we are right now, not taking into account the fact that we do not manufacture most of our raw materials in order to produce things.
I mean, the big problem, in my opinion, is like medicine. Fucking insulin. Why are we getting that shit?
Like $1,000 a week or a month with insurance.
Right. So, I mean, there is no easy fix to any of this. And the people that want to bitch about Trump, tariffs are bad. Yeah, tariffs can be bad. Tariffs can be good. But guess what? It's not going to happen in the first 30 fucking days, people. Right. Calm the fuck down. But people are so... People are so fucking... have bought into the fucking mainstream media bullshit, which is nothing more than a propaganda fucking machine.
Yeah.
That, tariffs are so fucking bad. No,
because I just saw something about it.
That's how we made fucking money in the past.
I just saw something about it, and I was like, did somebody like extrapolate this data through mathematics and science and be like, this shit's not going to hit us at all? Like, it's literally just going to feed the government.
But this is
probably what's going to happen.
And here's the thing. These are the same douchebags that are raising 9 barrels of fucking hell because Elon's auditing the fucking government. What's wrong with an audit? Maybe we should find some shit where some shit's going.
I have my opinions, but my opinions go more into him, even from a non-religious point of view, possibly being the Antichrist.
Elon?
Yeah. Oh my God, have you seen all the videos where they're like showing Trump when he ran the first time and he's like taking pictures with like all the, the special needs supporters of him with like Down syndrome and shit like that, and he's like hugging this kid with Down syndrome that's got a Make America Great hat on again. He's like, it's like 15 years later and it's fucking Elon Musk in his Make America Great Again hat looking around the fucking Oval Office.
Here's the thing. There is no way, none of this is going to fix anything.
No, it's just 4 more years of distraction.
Well, some things might. Here's the thing. Whatever, and I'm all for smaller fucking government. They don't need to be doing 90% of the shit they're fucking. That's not what the founding fathers meant the federal government.
Yeah, we don't need to be paying millions of dollars a year to like fucking.
I don't give a fuck about whale gender studies in Afghanistan, and there's no even whales in there. I'm being hyperbolic, so don't fucking come at me, bro. But I'm being.
Yeah, that should be collegiate. That should be an academic thing. That should not be political.
But these are the same motherfuckers who want to bitch about fucking Russian interference in an election. But yet, what the fuck does the CIA do? How many fucking governments?
Yeah, it's just because somebody else did it.
Oh yeah, we can do it, but don't you do it to us?
Yeah.
What the fuck do you think? People are so godforsaken, moronic.
We're children on the playground.
Makes me fucking my head move.
We are children on the playground, and whoever has the first thought to tweet something stupid is the kid on top of the jungle gym going, nya, 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 nya.
We're so fucking ignorant. And here's the thing. It's even reported. It's been, scholars will tell you this. When Rome fell, when the Greece.
When John Travolta came across.
That's an interesting story too. We'll cover sometime. But when ancient Greece imploded, basically, there were some common denominators. And you know what those they started questioning gender. Maybe the fucking U.S. empire is about ready to crumble.
I wouldn't put it on the back of that. I'd say there's a lot more contributing factors.
When life here's the thing. What's the difference between now and 1860?
It's hotter.
You didn't have time to worry about fucking pronouns in 1860.
That's
you
true.
had to fucking survive.
And even then, I would have to say, if I was alive in 1860, even though it wasn't much of a thing, I would probably handle it the same way. They'd be like, "'Tis ma'am, good sir." I'd be like,
When life
"Very well then, wouldst thou still liketh me to cutteth thine hay?"
when life gets a little easy, you got time to worry about fucking your pronouns and whether or not a man can have a fucking baby. That means life's fucking maybe a little too good. Maybe we should go back to bring back Jurassic Park and the saber-toothed tigers and shit like that. And let's
They're
see
working on it.
Let's see how much you worry about what you identify as.
I wish I could have a baby.
You're worried about not getting fucking fuck no.
My tax refund would be way bigger.
No, having a baby and delivering a baby are two different. Growing a baby is okay. A man.
I'd be walking around here like fucking, what's her name? Precious's mom. I'd just be pissed off at my little kids because I don't actually love them.
But my point is, back then, you didn't have time. You had to survive. You didn't know when your next. There wasn't a McDonald's on the fucking corner. You go get something to eat. You're hungry. You had to grow that fucking shit or shoot the motherfucking.
You can track this through Beyonce's career. At one point, she was a survivor, and now she's making stupid fucking country songs, getting album of the year for some goddamn reason.
I like that meme. Here's George Strait, hip hop artist of the year.
That'd be great.
That would be awesome. Anyway, let's get back to fucking UFOs.
We're gonna fuck them.
Now that we've pissed off all our followers.
I just think it's funny because we still land pretty middle of the road.
I'm
People are like,
centrist.
they think this. I'm like, yeah, not really.
I'm a centrist.
I just like to stir shit up every once in a while.
I'm a centrist.
Yeah.
I don't give a fine fuck.
Oh, depending on the situation I'm in and the people I'm around, I will completely say something I do not mean just to fire them up a little bit.
These motherfuckers don't even want me to say shit, voice my opinion on
The wall.
on Ukraine. Oh, I say I'm an isolationist, like we were before 1942. Fuck everybody else.
The only reason I could back the Ukraine thing to an extent is because we were definitely part of poking that Russian bear over the last 30 years.
Oh, absolutely.
That is the only reason I can get behind it, is us being like, yeah, that's our bad. There you go. Here's a couple billion.
We are the United States and NATO are 100% the cause of Ukraine.
Yeah, so like, wouldn't it be kind of shitty to just leave them out to dry entirely? Instead of like, maybe I would have just been like, all right, Vlad, we're giving them a couple billion. We're trying to even the playing field. After that, fucking ollie oxen free. We're out.
Here's what I think. Have we ever has our State Department ever thought maybe, take a different tact with the Soviet Union or Russia? Why be so confrontational?
Right?
Take the mafias. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
It's and it's also like, maybe it's like a foster kid. Like, they're not yours, but you feel like you got to keep them in line. But if you hit them and put cigarettes out on them, then they're probably going to turn out to be little assholes and possibly kill you in your sleep. But if you try to kill them with kindness a little bit, and you're like, hey, Vladimir, also world leader, person who has massive control over a massive piece of land and a pretty strong military, what's up? Not, hey, you fucking watch it there, V-Dog.
How did we get to this? But maybe if we ever thought, all political leaders, all presidents have a fucking ego. Why don't you stroke that motherfucker a little bit?
Or Fight Club.
I mean,
Vladimir Putin would beat the fuck out of everybody.
Instead of calling him all the name calling, why don't you say, hey, dude,
let's have a fresca.
Let's get on this horse, take our shirts off, and talk some shit out.
Like, let's have a fresca and some Butterfinger bits and talk about this. Like we're waiting for the movies in '98.
Man, maybe we should.
We don't have to fight in the cafeteria.
Maybe we should try that instead of being so confrontational.
Like, all the world leaders should just like have like a smoke sesh.
Can we just sit down, sing Kumbaya?
That's a good one. All the world leaders just get stoned together. Domino's and Doritos fucking sponsors it and supplies all the munchies, along with like Mountain Dew and Red Bull. And then you just get all the world leaders high in one building for like 2 days. And they come out and they're like, we're good.
But I mean, it's
Fucking Israel's high-fiving all the Palestinian leaders. Everybody's like, this is all it took? Yeah, I bet. Some stupid shit like that would probably work better.
Excuse me. But anyway, okay, let's get to your homeland.
So you want to hear some funny shit?
What?
Speaking of my homeland, I got verbally accosted in a racist way at work.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How did you get verbally accosted
because
in a racist way?
The cashier, if she listens to this, which she won't, she knows who she is.
You know who you are.
She wanted a quesadilla for breakfast. It's kind of a thing lately. We all go through it. I eat the same thing for like a month at a time. I work at a restaurant. So I was like, she was like, will you make that for me? I was like, yeah, because we weren't technically open yet. I was like, yeah, what do you want with it? And she just looked at me. She said, Jap.
Whoa.
I was like, excuse me, cracker?
You ain't even got no salt on your ass. You ain't even a saltine, bitch.
I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was unaware that that I am now Toby. I was unaware. I'm so sorry.
What was she trying to say?
Jalapeno ranch.
What?
Because in restaurant jargon, the hyphenated shortened version of jalapenos oftentimes is just Japs.
That's just
like when you're reading a ticket.
Maybe somebody should change that.
It was hilarious. Oh yeah, people used to read it out all the time. They'd literally be like, chicken quesadilla, no Travis. I'm like, fuck you.
No Travises.
I'll be like, oh, you don't want any flavor, white boy? Let me get just salt and pepper and chicken, right? Got it.
What's wrong with that, motherfucker?
Just that?
Yeah.
There's things called flavors in this world.
Salt has flavor. Chicken has flavor. Pepper has flavor.
We're not going to get into this conversation. We're not going to go down.
Listen.
We're not going to go down this Sesame Street.
I know I don't want no Travis on my whatever, on my chicken. I hate ranch and I hate jalapenos. Jalapeno.
You don't like jalapenos? I love jalapenos. Like little pickled jalapenos, I'll eat them like a snack.
Oh, you're just nasty.
People think I'm crazy. They're delicious.
Nasty,
sometimes they're super hot.
You're nasty as fuck.
I'm fucking an Asian American. I used to eat. Is that my phone?
No, that's
your
mine.
phone.
Hold on. Let's see. I bet it's work.
But no, I used to fucking eat seaweed, like chips.
Huh, I don't know who that is.
They have little. You can buy them at like jungle gyms and shit. They're like little like perforated sheets of like seasoned seaweed. Eat them like chips.
Motherfucker calling me. I'm podcasting to all of 5 people.
Probably somebody calling you about life insurance.
Probably.
Before the deadline, even though the deadline was like a month ago.
Is your car warranty is about to expire? No shit.
No shit. Didn't have it when I bought it.
So go eat a dick. Okay, Japan.
Hi.
I think, Japan is a fascinating culture. They're ancient culture. The samurai culture, they don't make them like that anymore.
No, they don't. They stopped with me.
Yeah,
I'm the last person, at least in the States, that lives by the honorable code of the Bushido.
But Japan is chock full of celestial wars and strange things in the sky.
And Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
It's kind of arguably kind of the same.
They often, in the 12th and 16th century, they refer to them as the dragon battles.
Is this how Dragon Ball Z starts?
Yes.
The fuck?
Japanese records occasionally describe what were believed to be dragons fighting in the sky.
Sick. See, this is way fucking cooler than all that Greek and Roman shit.
That's true.
You can get that bullshit out of here. I want sky dragons.
These accounts were found in temple records and war chronicles. These descriptions often involve large serpentine figures fighting in the clouds, accompanied by strange lights, thunderous sounds, and sometimes even fallen debris.
It could be a meteor shower.
Yeah, you're right. Stories were traditionally interpreted as supernatural or religious omens. Modern researchers speculate that they could describe meteorological phenomenon. In most cases, I agree with them, but when you talk in absolutes, there's a problem. You know, not everything can be,
especially with science.
Yes.
Well, because that's what I was thinking. Is like meteor showers. Because is there a correlation between meteor showers and lightning ever?
I think so.
Or if there's a meteor shower during a storm, and then you mix meteors with sprites.
I would imagine a meteor has no effect on it. It could happen. I think the odds of it happening during a thunderstorm or lightning storm would be
over 4 billion years.
I don't see why it couldn't.
Well, then you mix that with sprites, because sprites are
I don't like Sprite.
I'd say more of a Sierra Mist guy, but Sierra Mist was trash, and Starry's even worse.
I'm no longer drinking pop.
Give it 3 days. Give it till the next time he goes through a drive-through.
Motherfucker, 2 days. I take it. I'll drink one diet a day. One diet pop a day.
Fair. But
I need a little fucking caffeine.
Sprites are lightning that never leaves clouds. It just shoots around. So if you mix the two together,
there is something freaky about, you know, or even heat lightning. I've always called it heat lightning, where a cloud will just light up all of a sudden.
I think that's all technically a sprite.
Right, probably.
Because you can get they can be like pink and shit and green.
Yeah, it's amazing, fascinating, and creepy all at one time.
Or orb lightning. Have you ever seen orb lightning?
I have not seen orb.
Fucking dude, there's don't get me started on lightning.
Ride the lightning, baby, ride the lightning.
This is on this YouTube video's top 10 lightnings in lightning history. Number 10, McQueen.
Excuse me.
No Cars reference?
No.
Damn it.
Now, I'm flying dragons.
The only kind of dragons that matter.
That shoot fire out their both ends, probably, maybe. Who knows?
Taco Bell dragons.
I think, where did this concept or this idea or this legend come from?
Dinosaurs.
But if you...
I've already like...
So you're saying that we walked the earth with dinosaurs?
No, well, there is a potential potential crossover between some type of hominid species and some species of what we might consider dinosaurs or pterosaurs even, because mine is pterosaurs and dinosaurs, even if it's just fossil evidence. Okay. Think about it. You're building a city 2,000 years ago and you find the fossils of a giant lizard or possibly a giant winged thing with teeth, and your imagination is then going to start telling yourself ways to legitimize the existence and the presence of those things where you are.
I can see that.
I think that's I do think that's where a lot of that comes from. Or they were fucking real. Who knows? Maybe they're like vampires, and when they died, they just
don't come around people.
Or they
I mean, there's so many cryptids.
What was it? There was some dragon movie where they like ate themselves, or like they would, like when one died, they would just like and like burn it until it just fucking was ashes.
I don't know. I mean,
check under Mount Rushmore.
I mean, it's fast. Could it be possible that there was
winged spawns of Satan?
I mean, I think spitting fire is a bit much. Maybe a stretch. I don't know.
Well, there's I don't want to say a lot, but there's scientific guesstimations behind that too.
What are they? You're the science guy.
Like maybe not legitimate fire, but more on the lines of like an acid or a bacteria that could be projected from a mouth cavity or somewhere else. Like, for instance, how like horny toads can shoot blood out of their eyes.
Yeah.
Or
a spitting viper.
A spitting cobra. Vipers don't spit.
Oh.
They're hinge-fanged.
Lamont wants to know if you'd eat one.
Probably. I am Asian. Or even like there's a beetle. They call it what do they call it? But there's a beetle that like it can in like milliseconds generate a stream of like water or some type of fluid that is like boiling hot and shoot it at predators.
Or what if it's like an electric eel?
which we still don't understand. We don't even know how that works.
Right. But what if there was a flying
Electric eel, kind of, for all intents and purposes,
flying dragon, essentially, or flying dinosaur of some sort.
That's a coatl
that had the same ability as an electric eel.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Of course, I've never seen it. Do they actually shoot, or is it just you touch them?
You don't even have to touch them.
If you're in
you
the water,
be in the water with them. They'll just fucking zap you.
I mean, that's fascinating. I mean, nature is fascinating. Nature is fascinating and terrifying all at the same time.
Damn, nature, you scary.
But I think these had to come from somewhere. I think it's fascinating that maybe there is a possibility, like what you were, that some sort of hominid did walk the earth with dinosaurs towards the end or whatever. And there is something to the fact that things are passed down genetically. I don't know. I don't want to say memories, but there's
fears, stuff like that
are
evolutionary information
coded in our DNA.
Yeah,
and over time, that dragons, if we this is all hypothetical. I'm not saying. I don't want watching them the views say I believe in dragons, like they did Rogan.
It'd be pretty cool.
But maybe there was some kind of crossover a little bit with some sort of hominid, and that DNA is just...
Yeah.
Because there was intermingling of the sexes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there may have just been a pterosaur of some sort that crossed over with some type of hominid that interbred with later forms, and then and then there's also the fact that, like, you're just meant to be kind of afraid of things that do things you can't.
Right.
Like, things that fly are mysterious and weird. Like, we understand now how they do, but back then you just see something and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I mean, the GITN podcast does not share the views on dragons of Joe Rogan. The only dragons I believe in are dragging these nuts across your motherfucking forehead. Been sitting on that. I've been.
You were waiting. You had that.
I had to drop it in there somewhere. I am a child.
Pull the trigger.
I am a child after all.
You were just waiting for the time to.
Yeah, no, I do. I think dragons are, like, oddly understandable / potentially explainable.
Or could it also be some sort of UAP or UFO that was misinterpreted?
There's electric eels. What if there's electric crocodiles?
Oh, that
dragon. Especially if you think historically, because there was crocodiles that were, like, built different and shit like that and could run as fast as horses on land.
Well, fuck them.
Yeah. There's also crocodilians that lived in the trees.
They're just assholes.
Yeah. I very much enjoy watching these random videos where it's like the one time in the world where it was safer to live on land in Australia. It's like Australia was laden with 30-foot long lizards with 8-foot long teeth that, like, shit acid and had a bad attitude and just listened to grunge. They're terrifying.
Talking about a flying squirrel dragon, little baby dragon. Well, who knows? That's the thing about
flying squirrels are annoying as shit.
That's the thing about the ancient. We don't know. It could be UAPs fighting it out, the celestial war, or it could be some sort of extinct creature,
or it could be some sort of drug-induced ranting.
Then maybe it was just a hallucination by a samurai that was stabbing himself because he lost his. That is fucking Japanese motherfuckers. They take some shit serious.
It's honor.
Which we have none here. What happened to your honor? Exactly.
Sustained.
Exactly. All right. Yeah, so that's it. Now let's get into the good shit. UFOs are in the freaking Bible, apparently. The prophet Ezekiel. He had a vision.
Didn't they all?
In 593 BC in Babylon. The prophet Ezekiel's vision is one of the most famous and enigmatic prophetic visions in the Hebrew Bible. recorded in Ezekiel 1 and is often referred to as the vision of the chariot. Von Daniken, was big on this.
Who?
Von Daniken, Ancient Aliens, the chariots of the gods.
I don't know if I've ever actually watched Ancient Aliens.
Oh, it is fucking phenomenal.
It's funny. I see all these crazy things on the internet, and I'm like, I already kind of thought that. I'm like, why aren't I fucking famous?
Ezekiel was a priest among the Jewish exiles in Babylon. He saw a great storm cloud filled with fire and flashing lights. That's called a thunderstorm.
Was he anywhere near the burning bush?
No.
Because haven't we kind of concluded that was a hallucinogenic bush?
Yes, it does. When that particular bush does burn, it does throw off a little
stank.
Yeah, you can catch a little bit of a trip.
A little bit of stank on you floating through the air.
I think the burning bush incident, I'm not an expert in these things, but I think it was pretty far away from this one. Long time ago. I don't know. Where was I at? But he saw a great storm with fire and flashing lights, thunderstorm, like I said. In this cloud, he saw 4 living creatures, 4 faces, a man, a lion, an ox, and an eagle. 4 wings, 2 to cover, they all had 4 wings, 2 to cover their bodies and 2 to be stretched out. Straight legs with hooved-like calves, human-like hands under their wings. They were moving as one without turning, guided by the Spirit. What?
He told the future. A man, a lion, an ox, and an eagle.
Chronicles.
He's Nosferatu for the NFL.
Oh, sweet.
The Chiefs, the Lions, the Rams, and the Eagles.
I don't think an ox can be called a ram.
Either or. The Texans.
The cloud also had wheels within wheels.
What?
Beneath,
like spinners?
Excuse me. Beneath each creature was a wheel intersecting another wheel, often interpreted as a gyroscopic or multidimensional movement. Were covered in eyes all around. The wheels had eyes all up in them.
What the fuck,
baby? They could move in any direction without turning. Spinners. They were driven by the spirit of the living creatures. He also, in this cloud, saw the firmament with a throne of God sitting on top.
When was this?
What was it? 593 BCE.
Go on.
There was a throne above the creatures. Was a platform like a shining crystal expanse, which can be interpreted as the firmament, a firmament type structure around encasing it.
Fermentation, booze.
On this, Ezekiel saw a throne made of sapphires, and sitting on it was a figure like a man glowing with fire.
The fuck was this guy on?
I don't know. Ezekiel fell face down, overwhelmed by his vision. God then spoke to him, calling him a prophet.
No, he fell down because he couldn't. He passed out because he had to let out the giant hit of salvia that he took right before this happened.
Now, there's a lot of meanings and this is very open to interpretation.
No shit.
Obviously.
No shit.
Some people will refer to the vision as it reassured the exiled Jews that God's presence was not limited to the Jerusalem temple. He was still with them. Divine sovereignty, chariots and wheels symbolize God's power, mobility, and control over history. The role of the prophet is something, since God basically came down and said, hey, Zeke, you're a prophet now. You saw my chariots of fire. Shitty movie. Never saw it.
What are our thoughts on? For some reason, my mind went straight to, what if this was some type of like Roman or Greek war machines that had animals of power depicted on them?
I think that I don't know exact dates of the Roman Empire, but I think this was way before that.
Egyptians,
maybe. Ezekiel's vision later influenced Jewish mysticism. Now,
Jewisticism?
Yes. UFO encounters and alien visitations is a theory that ancient astronauts have explored the show, basically.
What?
Ancient aliens.
Oh.
Ezekiel may have described an advanced extraterrestrial spacecraft using the language and symbolism of his time. The wheels within wheels are a flying craft. Some interpret this as a rotating spacecraft or anti-gravity propulsion.
So ye old flying saucer.
Yes. The living creatures are basically beings in spacesuits. So obviously the aliens came down to Earth during their Halloween party.
I was gonna say dressed up as earthly creatures.
Yes.
It's the fucking it's the battle beasts or whatever from the Transformers world.
But with multi faces and glowing metallic appearance, could be described as alien beings or humanoid figures in helmets.
What?
The wings and movements could resemble the way astronauts or drones might operate in a low gravity environment. The throne as a command center or cockpit.
That's the only thing so far that actually kind of makes sense.
What?
The throne being the command center. You don't fucking say.
Like I said, Ezekiel saw a crystalline dome, which basically is a firmament, which could be like that dome on top of a stereotypical, UFO or UAP, saucer with a little window. Yeah.
Which I call bullshit on that construction.
But like I said, this has been compared to a cockpit or control center of an advanced aircraft. Fire, lightning, and noises. Now, obviously, there was a storm, so there's going to be lightning and noises. It's called thunder, fucktards.
You may have been at war.
Yeah.
So there's fire and noises.
But they can kind of say that maybe the fire, lightning, and noises could be interpreted as like the flames shooting out the exhaust, propulsion.
I feel like something with, but that's my problem with all this shit like this. Is like, you would think that something this far advanced wouldn't have fucking a cherry bomb on the back of his fucking flying saucer.
He probably has some fuzzy dice in that on the firmament.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what is this, a Puerto Rican 19-year-old from 86?
Yes.
Or any 19-year-old from 86, really? The dice might have threw it a little,
Or the nuts hanging from the trailer hitch.
Oh, what do they call those? Truck nuts?
Truck nuts.
You can get those for Crocs.
Of course.
They hang off the back.
You can get everything for
So
Crocs.
basically, he's describing the UFO version of the car that picked up Dell and what's his name from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes.
You know the one I'm talking about?
I think
Had
so.
like little string lights on the inside. Definitely looked like it smelled like chlamydia and matches.
How do you know what chlamydia smells like?
I saw that car.
Oh, okay. You smell with your eyes?
Told me everything I need to know.
Oh.
It was such a scene that it built all the factory guesstimations of what was going on inside of it.
Right. Mainstream biblical scholars argue that Ezekiel's vision was a symbolic representation of God's presence and his divine glory.
Why would that be how he showed that?
I don't know.
Wouldn't he just fucking Mufasa from the sky like the Lion King?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say what you said earlier. Zeke was tripping balls.
Yeah. I would have to say. Although whatever, I forget what I wish I would have remembered it, but there's something that you quoted earlier in this story.
Let's go up. We got fucking time,
Where is
baby.
it? It's in quotations.
Wheel Within Wheels from an earlier story or this one?
No, it's from this one. It's from the beginning of this one. Where was it?
Visions of the Chariots?
Vision of the Chariot.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott should fucking brand that.
Oh, you're fucked.
Opportunity missed.
Okay.
Oh, it's time to talk about China.
China. The Chinese.
I saw a UFO. It was a great UFO.
The best.
The best UFO. I said, I need one of these UFOs.
The Chinese fireball.
Elon, build me this UFO.
The UFOs in ancient China, roughly 1,000 in that range CE. So this is after.
Mm-hmm. A long time after.
Yeah, so just 1,000 years ago, basically.
Over a millennia.
The Chinese fireballs is a term sometimes used to describe historical accounts of unidentified flying objects, UFOs in ancient China.
I figured that was when he took smoked some weed and took a shot. Chinese fireball.
Is that, that reminds me.
You didn't get any fireball?
We're bringing back the fireball next week.
Oh, God.
Or you bring whatever the fuck you want there.
Water. Health is wealth in 2025.
I quit pop. I'm limiting my pop, not alcohol.
I need to be better about my water intake when I'm not working.
That's
while
why
I'm working. That does count.
This is water.
It started as water. But then again, you can make the argument that soda counts. It starts as water.
It's carbonated water, but that's
I had a teacher that said that in high school. He was like, you don't have to drink 8 glasses of just water a day. That's bullshit. He was like, it is not as healthy for you if it was water, but a soda technically in a one way, shape, or form does count as hydration. I'm like, I don't know if that works that way, but I'm going to follow what you say.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you can survive without drinking water for a long, long period of time.
I did it for like 6 years of my life.
From the time I quit,
it's the fattest I ever got.
From the time I quit playing sports, mainly football, so 20-ish.
Phil has drank 2 liters of water.
To about, I don't know, that was in 92-ish, 91, 92-ish, to about, I don't know, 2012. I hardly drank any fucking water. I lived on Mountain Dew and bad dreams, baby.
You've also broken your back and had a stroke.
Okay, let's don't.
So I don't know how much of an argument you're making for this cause.
But I'm still alive.
Oh, man.
Kicking.
It's almost like your spinal cord is dehydrated. I'm not sure what's going on.
So you're saying I should have been drinking water?
It's weird. It's almost the same color as Mountain Dew Code Red.
Imagine that. Huh? All right, where are we at here?
Chinese Fireball.
Chinese Fireball. Awesome drink.
This is a fireball shot with soy sauce in it.
Yeah, Chinese records contain several descriptions of mysterious phenomenon in the skies resembling modern day UFOs. So
cool. Well, I mean, we are
ticky-tacky.
We are getting to a much more modern time.
Yes.
So who's to say that, we couldn't be getting UFOs from different what's the word I'm looking for?
I have no freaking idea.
Populations of extraterrestrial life.
All right.
Different pockets that are more or less advanced.
That's true. Some of the accounts describe bright, fiery objects flying through the sky, often behaving in ways inconsistent with known astronomical events like comets or meteors.
Are we sure this wasn't just a shitload of those little paper lanterns they be letting off over in them parts?
Good point. The most notable story is the official history of the Song Dynasty. Describes glowing spheres or fireballs that moved erratically across the sky, sometimes appearing to change direction or hover before disappearing.
Who recorded the Song Dynasty?
No. Oh. Well, you're a dick. Now,
I didn't know there was a Song Dynasty.
This is interesting. It makes it interesting, like I said earlier, changing direction, and you add hovering into this. Could this be one of those
lanterns
that hovered, caught wind, and darted off?
Or could it have been possibly ye old hot air balloon?
Ye old hot air balloon?
I mean, the technology in a way was always there.
That is true.
A lot of like the old movies and shit that like involve flight machines oftentimes are centered around essentially a hot air balloon-esque idea of floating and gliding.
Right. I mean, but here's the thing. When you have irregular movements, that kind of...
It means there's a strong wind.
But like it pushes out shooting stars and meteors. So,
I'm just imagining a fucking Chinese dude.
Well, here's the thing.
2,000 years ago getting blown around in a fucking hot air balloon like, oh, no!
I might have a more simple explanation for this.
More drugs.
No. Where were fireworks created?
Also, yes.
China.
Gunpowder in general.
China. could this just be the early stages of fireworks development? They were testing the shit.
Great fireworks, the best fireworks.
And some poor farmer out in the middle of nowhere saw this and said, oh, shit.
Same reaction. He said, oh, no. What fucking the... Get in the hut, we die now.
I think that's more likely than anything else, especially at that time. I don't know when they invented gunpowder and fireworks. I don't know the time. Maybe I'm way off.
Cheering.
But I would assume it's somewhere around this time.
Cheering, get in the hut and put your head between your leg. Why, father? So you kiss your ass goodbye. We fucked.
But that's all I got. But I do think ancient UFOs it's a tricky subject.
Could you imagine a UFO going over like old China or Japan across like a farm where there's just a bunch of people working in a bunch of rice paddies and shit, and you just hear like a wave of simultaneous it's like it's like somebody got kicked in the nuts in a football game. Just put like 1,000 people at one time.
Maybe. I don't know. But here's the thing.
Ow.
I think there is something to
the shit not being anything new.
If we're seeing them now, I'm sure there was some seen back then. But I think
so you're saying that UFOs are not a phase, Mom?
No, I'm saying that probably always been coming here.
UFOs are the goth of fashion.
I think it's the exception, not the rule. I think a lot of this can be explained away by just the verbal traditions being told down. I caught a fish that was this big.
I've caught fish that big.
Yeah. Or misunderstanding, which like the flying, and like we talked about earlier, the flying dragons weren't spaceships. They were an extinct.
That was a Chinese street gang.
It was an extinct flying type reptile that, there's so many different.
And it's also just kind of something you expect to hear from that region. Like, yes. What did you see, Mr. Lee? Flying dragon!
I watched...
I eat my romaine. I see flying dragon.
I have Tropic Thunder on DVR, baby.
Oh, God. This, what is it? Is it Red Dragon? This Red Dragon.
Yeah.
We have tugboat or tugman. You send $20 million. He said, wait, Red Dragon. Fuckface. Or what did he call him? I think he said, take a step back and fuck your own face. Then hung up on him. He said, we do not deal with terrorists. And they got a round of applause. And then he verbally accosted Bill Hader again.
Yes.
He said, seriously, a nutless monkey could do your job. But he said, tugboat, what do you mean? He said, an innocent little panda. God, I haven't seen that movie in forever. That movie was so fucking fun.
I'm on the fence about that. I'm sure if they're coming to us now, I'm sure they were being seen then. I mean, there are some weird trinkets. Have you ever seen like some, even Sumerians have some stuff, drawings and stuff in sculptures of stuff, but it is fascinating. And I would be willing to bet that some of these accounts probably were legitimate type
somethings,
what we would consider a UFO. And there's a big, I don't even know what a UFO is. UFO might not be from outer space.
Maybe all the secrets to this are untranslatable, and they're in that that codex. Is it like the like they call it like the Devil's Bible? I want to do an episode on it.
Well,
it's huge. It's like this fucking big, and like it's just massive book. And it's got like illustrated pictures of like what looks kind of like possibly a devil. And then it's got like fauna like explained and painted out in the pages that like don't exist or didn't exist at the time. And it's in a language that has yet to be translated. And allegedly the devil came to a priest or a defunct priest that was like
down to Georgia, that
was like locked in a room. And allegedly he like he's scribed out this entire codex in like a night, and it's like 600 something pages or some shit, and it's like hand drawn and handwritten, and nobody knows where it came from or how to translate it or anything.
Very interesting.
I want to make an episode about it. I just don't know how far you could get.
Well,
because we don't know what it says.
You do what you can. But who knows? If we're seeing UFOs or UAPs today, I'm sure that somebody back in the age of time saw it.
Yeah,
cavemen probably saw it.
Yeah, but we don't fucking nobody gives a shit about cavemen, do they?
No, because they drag their wives around with fucking by their hair,
with bones in their lips.
Yes. Them.
And they drank Miller Lite.
Just motherfuckers. Fucking toxic masculinity right there.
That's all there was. The fucking female Neanderthals would beat the fuck out of us.
Yes.
I saw a video that broke it down. Like a female Neanderthal at like an average height was like 2 or 3 times stronger than like an average male today.
Nice.
They're just little brick shit houses.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, we are the weakest freaking... It's amazing we are top of the...
It's just because of our ability to think.
And
if it wasn't for that, we'd be fucked.
And some of us have a deficit in that.
Yeah.
Mainly these two guys right here.
Like all the animals that we look at and we're like, oh, it's so cute, would out-survive the shit out of us.
Probably.
Like people are like, oh, look, I love giraffes. That giraffe would stomp you to death if it could.
All right. I'm done. I'm out. I'm hungry.
We're going to go look at UFOs.
I got to pee. And I'm tired of this shit.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
I'm old. I'm cranky. I'm turning into get off my lawn guy.
You've been get off my lawn guy.
I was get off my lawn guy when I was 22. But I'm thinking the Hollywood Hogan is coming.
You're going to diet and everything?
Diet all the way down, baby.
Oh,
all the way down here.
I do not approve. I do not approve this. Oh, the New World Order Hogan. Yeah.
I feel it coming. And I'm gonna get a do-rag and grow my hair real long, and
just on the sides.
Because I got pretty much the same fucking hairline that fucker has now.
You do a shitload of steroids and buy and self tanner.
I'm seriously about a fucking 2 months away from just breaking out the pick.
It's going bald again?
It's going bald again. This is embarrassing.
It's just hair.
Anyway, guys, thanks for whoever showed up in the chat. We appreciate you.
Said my hairline's running as thin as the life of this particular episode of the podcast. Have a good night, everybody.
We will see you next week when Travis will tell us some story about something.
Haven't even thought about it yet.
But I am not doing shit next week.
Not doing dick about fuck.
And then my episode the week after could be about porn. I don't know. Extraterrestrial porn.
Let's start with Debbie Does Dallas. Oh, we could make full episodes about
Bigfoot porn?
Like cryptid and extraterrestrial erotica. There's so much of it.
Maybe we ought to spend a day.
It's gross.
Spend an episode you reading.
It's gross.
Reading that in Mike Tyson's voice.
It's gross.
It's gross.
A lot of those would probably be Patreon worthy.
Well, maybe we'll come up with that. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. And for those of you listening on your favorite podcast app, be sure to come over to the YouTube channel and like, subscribe, all that shit. And we will see you next time.
It doesn't get better on YouTube.
Oh, it doesn't. It's generally worse. We don't get better. We just get older.
We're like shit. We're like wine.
I tell you what.
We're like wine that's been opened. We do not age well.
Oh, Mary Does Mars. I like it.
Oh. Valerie does Venus.
Jenny does Jupiter.
Patricia does Pluto.
Nancy does Neptune.
Where are we at?
I don't know. Fuck, I lost count. Saturn. Sarah does Saturn. I think we hit them all.
Melody does Mercury.
Oh, I forgot Mercury. Damn it.
And Bertha does Eartha.
All right, we are out on that note. Thanks.
This sun's got buns, hun.
We'll see you next time. Take care, guys.
The in her holer system